In this video, I'll explain value patterns and how to determine them. And it's in my book, Ellen's Guide to Design Elements, which is $5. And please remember to subscribe. In my last videos, I discussed using 2 or 3 values. And after that, the number of possible value patterns gets a little overwhelming. So this is 4 values. And there are a total of 24 combinations, and I show you 12 of them here. 6 with the light background, 6 with the number 2 background, and then there are 6 with the number 3 background and 6 with the number 4 background. So when you start using value patterns, pick 4 to 7 shapes and don't overmodel or gradate because that adds more values. When you divide your picture into values, you can often see compositional flaws. So in this example, I divided it into 4 values. And this shows backlighting with the light behind the mountains. And the mountains are blue due to atmospheric perspective. Now we could imagine the street as being the eye path leading to a focus, which is either the buildings in the distance or the mountains. We immediately notice this orange stripe that goes across the painting, and it should be de-emphasized on its edges, particularly on the right, so we don't follow this orange stripe out of the picture. This image, although I say this is the focus, if we look at it, there's no clear focus. And without lightening the values going toward the top, the design looks vertical. So I don't love this value pattern, and by simplifying my picture in this way, I could see the overall design. This is a much better value pattern, and to help myself convert this into a value pattern, I changed it into a black and white image first. And then I saw 2 main values, the white horse connecting to the sky and the ground, and the black horse connecting to the house, the trees, and the railing. The 2 values you can see interweave, and the different shapes connect into a unified whole image. One value should be dominant, and here it's the black. So it makes the white horse the focus, and the white horse interacts with the dark horse, the railings, the trees, the sky, and the ground. Look how much more striking this value contrast is compared to the photo. One unusual type of value pattern you can try is called an all-over pattern, which is like a checkerboard with an even distribution of elements, without a focus and without strong directional lines. So instead, attention is spread all over the canvas, and we respond to the overall image. And it's usually composed of many small shapes like this one is. It's more common in abstract paintings than in realistic work. And there's unity if one element, like shapes, are similar. Here we have all rectangles, for example. There's variety if other elements differ. For example, here we have different colors and values. We need both unity and variety. So one type that's very unified would be like Andy Warhol's Campbell's soup cans, where he just has a bunch of Campbell's soup cans. It has unity with no variety. And of course, that was the message, that mass production results in boring sameness. Alternatively, the image could provide variety like a quilt, which has different colors and values. My crocheted blanket has an all-over pattern. I restricted the colors to orange, blue, yellow, brown, and white, with all patterns having circular centers, but I varied the shapes and their placement. There's a gradation between the all-over pattern and a typical composition. So for this one, it has the look of an all-over pattern, but it has some focus and directional lines. We see similar shapes and colors along the bridge here, making it look relatively flat and unified. But there's some perspective with a decrease in size of the figures in the distance. So the bustle of activity is felt most noticeably on the bridge in front, giving the image some variety and direction. Let's look at this distribution of heavy and light appearing forms. In the first one, we see the heaviest dark one on the bottom and white on the top. And it's a pattern that we find pleasing and understandable because it looks like earth and sky. This one may be okay in certain situations, but when the gray is on the bottom or the top, the sequence appears haphazard, so the distribution of weight isn't convincing. However, if the weight is adjusted like this, with the heavy black area being small, balance can be achieved because now the size of the blocks are more important than the values. Let's look at these images with two circles where the values are changed. Now, this first one could be a large circle nearby and a small one further away. And the small one merges with the background, as we expect with the atmospheric perspective. So this makes sense. This one also makes sense because the darker one is merging with the background, so it seems further away than this light one here. But these two are confusing, and it confuses our sense of depth, so it flattens the image. We're not sure which one of these is closer. This shows how the lighting affects these two boxes. So with backlighting, the sun is coming in this direction in front of us so that we see mainly the shaded sides of the boxes. With top lighting, the sun is coming down like this, so we see both light and shade. And then with front lighting, the light is coming in this direction. And I just want to explain why this looks like it's so full of light. And that's because this roof is very light, and we expect that it's normally the value of this dark roof. And so it makes sense that it's being hit by light on this white area, then reflected onto this roof and coming to our eye. So by making this lighter, you make the whole image look like it's full of light, and that's a very important trick to remember. So please remember to subscribe and check out my book on Amazon, which is only $5.